Guten Tag, hello and welcome. My name is the Alpha Female and you're listening to Turnbuckle Talk.
Whoa! G'day, mateys. Bushwhacker Luke here. 2015 Hall of Famer. And you're listening to Turnbuckle Talk. Yeah! Whoa!
This is pro wrestling's only modern day Viking Gunner, and you're on Turnbuckle Talk.
Hey, this is Nick Magnus Solis, and you're listening to Turnbuckle Talk.
Hi, this is Leva Blue Pants Bates, and you are listening to Turnbuckle Talk.
Hey, this is Jeff Jarrett, the king of the mountain and founder of Global Force Wrestling, and you're listening to Turnbuckle Talk. Hey, fellas, you guys have a great day, and this is only because I'm talking to Canadians. It is actually spitting snow in Tennessee.
See? Oh my God!
That's a great. We've had 70-degree weather here. We really had a warm December, and I get on the phone with damn Canadians and we're spitting snow. So.
And it's been spitting snow up here in Sault Ste. Marie as well. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Turnbuckle Talk, episode 364, Point to Prove. I'm your host, Chris Best, alongside OMD. We are without Carl Carafel this week. OMD, how are you feeling today, my friend?
I'm doing very well tonight. A little bit tired. Was a bit of a long weekend and hard weekend for whatever reason. But, you know, we're here to talk some wrestling, and that is our favorite topic.
That's right. We got Chris Parrish already coming in saying, "What up, people? What up, Chris Parrish?" But you know what? Before we get into the wrestling talk, we do have a bit of sad news that hits us local boys. It hits us in the heart pretty hard. We got to say a special rest in peace to one hockey player, that being Chris Simon.
Yes.
Chris Simon, as you know, OMD, played here in Sault Ste. Marie for our local team, the Sioux Greyhounds.
Yes.
One of my favorite players to watch when he was here, because I was very faithful to the Greyhounds at that time.
Yep.
How about you? Like, what are your memories of him?
I loved him. And even going to the NHL, watching his career there, watching him win that cup.
Mm-hmm.
This was a guy who did it all in hockey in a fourth line and enforcer role.
Mm-hmm.
His life was tragically taken from us.
Yeah.
It has come out. I'm not going to get into details. But this is also a man who helped me a number of years ago. As I faced my addictions and I battled my demons.
So it hits home for you very hard then.
Very much so.
Yeah. Like to send our well wishes and prayers to to Chris Simon's family for this unfortunate incident. But we're going to move on. We are going to move into the wrestling talk. What do you say we talk about a story that has a bit of controversy surrounding it, considering there's a certain woman who won't allow this to happen, but we think maybe there might be a possibility of it happening. Jim Ross had come out onto his podcast and said that he feels that now that Vince McMahon is no longer in control of the WWE, that there's a chance that Owen Hart could go into the Hall of Fame. Very slim chance, but it's possible.
It is possible. Very slim indeed. The problem I have with this, and I don't want to take away from Owen's career, he was my favorite of the Hart family.
Mm-hmm.
But for who he was and the character and all of that, the fact is now if he was to be inducted posthumously, he would unfortunately not headline his own class.
No, he wouldn't, but
which I don't think is fair, and I think he deserves that. Because you've had, in the last 25 years, 30 years almost, that, so many other wrestlers who have gone in And we all know that Martha has her involvement with AEW and the Owen Hart Cup.
Mm-hmm.
So the question then becomes, what happens with that? Does that stay in AEW, or does Martha now maybe look to mend fences?
That's the big question there. And the question I have is on the WWE side. How does Triple H approach this if this does come to fruition?
I don't think it's just Triple H. I think there's a lot of other people involved in this decision. I mean, we know we don't ever hear about it, but I'm sure there is a Hall of Fame committee.
Mm-hmm.
And I am sure that Nick Khan is probably on that as well. We know that The Rock has been involved heavily in this year's Hall of Fame. So I wonder if maybe that would have some influence.
Yeah, we've got Chris Parrish coming in and saying it doesn't matter if he headlines or not. I think what matters is that the WWE and the family of Owen Hart come to an agreement to help celebrate his life and career. And 1000%,
yeah,
I agree with that. I would love to see Martha mend those fences with the WWE, because then we can probably get like a proper documentary on Owen. We did get one on DVD some years ago. We'd be able to see like WWE actually showcase some of Owen's best matches on the WWE YouTube side, on the WWE network maybe as well, or
right
in the States. I do think it's been long overdue. There's a lot of people who have been championing him wanting to come in. The Rock is one of them. Mark Henry was one of them.
Jeff
fans
Jarrett.
are definitely Jeff Jarrett.
Absolutely.
mean, these are men that whose lives Owen has touched. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
But yeah, I mean, my biggest memory of Owen definitely has to be here at our Memorial Gardens. The two times he came in.
Yep.
Where he faced British Bulldog at the first house show in what was the match of the night, in my opinion, because Lex and Tatanka main evented, and that was all right. But
yep.
And then the second time when him and Yoko defended the tag titles against the Smoking Guns, and I'll never forget my mom freaking out at the size of Yokozuna when he came to the ring.
Right?
Yeah. She just sees Yoko and she's like, holy Christ, he's massive. And then like throughout the match, you see Yoko getting Irish whipped in the corner. And she's like, holy Christ, did you see how far the ring moved?
Right?
Yeah. And Owen's antics in that match were just,
they were
typical Owen.
Yes.
I mean, that's the one thing if Owen does go in the Hall of Fame, the one thing I really would like for them to touch on is his ribs.
Yeah. I think my biggest memory of Owen from an in-ring perspective, yes, obviously he was here twice, but just the care he took of Steve Austin after that pile driver went sideways. Staying on the crowd and
and knowing that Austin was hurt and going to the finish right away. But the only thing that still it kind of irks me about Owen was, and this is from Stone Cold's words, is the fact that Owen didn't call him afterwards to check on him or anything like that,
Right.
And I understand maybe Owen was busy because, like, let's face it, wrestling schedules in the 90s were insane.
Yes.
Oh geez, but I'll never forget the night Owen passed away as well. Right? That one, I remember that like it was yesterday. I was at my camp. I was playing cards with my family. It was late night. Had to have been maybe about 11 o'clock, and our local country station, which was Q104 at the time, had come out and announced his passing on the news.
Wow. I remember I was in Toronto at that point, and had gone down to a superstar meet and greet just a few days earlier.
Right.
With Owen, Edge, a very young Edge at that point, and a number of others. I believe Mark Henry was there as well. And then, leading into Over the Edge. And then all of a sudden, I'm at my apartment watching TV, and there it is in the blurb that Owen Hart has passed away.
Yeah. And we got Parrish coming in saying that he should have taken care of him. It was Owen's fault. Yes, it was Owen's fault because he didn't execute the pile driver properly. We also got Giselle coming in saying, hi, guys, over on the Twitch side. Hi, Giselle. How's it going? Glad to see you're a part of the show.
Yes, good evening, Giselle. How did you find us?
Yeah. But yeah, if this does happen, count me excited that Owen gets in. 1000% excited.
Yes, absolutely.
And this could open the door to another stable induction in the entire Hart Foundation.
It could.
I want to see. I do want to see if this goes somewhere. I don't think it will, but if it does, I would be tremendously happy about it.
Yes.
Okay, so let's move on. Let's move on from Owen, and let's go across the Atlantic Ocean from Canada. What do you say we go to Scotland with Drew McIntyre? Okay, we got Parrish coming and say he did the move fine. He just shouldn't have done it that way. Oh yeah, that makes sense. He should have dropped to his knees in that tombstone because it was a tombstone that was hit.
No, it was a regular pile driver. And Austin's head was a little bit below where it should have been.
It was a tombstone, brother. It wasn't a regular pile driver. But yeah, let's move on. Let's talk Drew McIntyre. Rumors have been flying over the last few months over whether or not Drew has renewed his contract. Drew has finally come out and stated that there hasn't been a renewal of his contract. Rumors also flew that there was extensions. Drew also said in that same thing that he does want to stay with the WWE.
Yes.
So now, where do you lie? Do you think he resigns, or does WrestleMania 40 tell us a different story?
My personal opinion, I think WrestleMania 40 does tell us a different story. But again, you never know, because in that he did say nothing is set in stone, but he is having fun with where he's at.
Yeah, and that's what I'm meaning by that. He is more than happy to stay, you know?
But again, you got to have that security. Because it's the WWE, you're not going to get that handshake agreement and work on an appearances deal.
Yeah.
Unless your name is Brock Lesnar or Roman Reigns. And it's going to depend on where do they want to go if and when CM Punk comes back. Are they going to actually pursue that, or is it going to be too little too late because they didn't move?
See, that's the thing. That's, I think, why you want to keep Drew, because now you've got that story to fall upon when Punk returns. And that will be telling this coming Monday when Punk makes his Raw return.
Yes.
And I'm assuming he's going to talk about like how far along he is with his injury. He did announce that he's going to appear at WrestleMania, or he's going to be involved in WrestleMania weekend in some form.
Yes. I know there has been a lot of speculation that Punk is going to come back because he is coming back this coming Monday, as well as the first Monday of April. And likely announce what's going to happen. So there is the opportunity, and the rumors have been out there that he is going to be the guest ref for Seth Rollins and Drew McIntyre. Because he's the only guy that can actually call that match impartially.
because both guys hate him, and
Exactly.
he hates both guys.
Exactly.
I do want to see Drew stick around with the WWE. So I'm going out on a limb here and thinking my pick to win the title may be Drew.
Yep. Drew is my pick to win the belt. But again, I think that's going to be very telling of where he's at.
Mm-hmm.
If they put the belt on him, he's going to be signing an extension. If not, then I could see him working on a temporary extension until SummerSlam and this feud with Punk blows over.
Right.
And it's done, and then he could go elsewhere.
Yeah. Because like I said, you got the Punk feud for him. That's also dependent on when Punk comes back. And with Drew winning, you open up, like I've been saying, I said this all last night too on the Raw Patrol. And I'm going to say the same. I said it for Gunther and Sami Zayn. I'm going to say the same thing for Drew. He wins the title. It opens up a list of new challengers for new contenders for the title. You could go Drew and Gunther, and I would be happy with that because that would just be a knockdown, drag out brawl for the two of them.
It would. But again, and I mean, it goes back to, again, we were sort of expecting to hear about Sheamus coming back soon. We know his contract's coming up.
Mm-hmm. We also got Becky and Seth's contract coming up as well in June.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So you've got all of these other big name contracts coming up, and you have to wonder, where does Drew McIntyre fall on that list of priorities?
Yeah, and right now, I think with the WWE, I don't want to use this term, but a lot of reports have been saying that they've been failing at they've been focusing on getting the free agent signings going. And they failed with trying to get Ospreay, trying to get Okada, and trying to get Mercedes Moné. So now that they can't get those three, that leaves it open that you could sign Drew, you could re-sign Sheamus, you can re-sign Becky, you could re-sign Seth right now.
It does, but I mean, there are certain things that each company can offer to their talent
mm-hmm.
that the other may not be able to, that can play a pivotal role.
Mm-hmm.
We know that, like, for Mercedes, it had to do a lot with her acting and her mental health.
Right.
For Ospreay, I believe it had to do a lot with the schedule and the people he knew there.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas with WWE, they're focusing on building their own talent, so they don't have to go out and require these free agents.
Yeah. But I'm going to go out and say that I think Becky and Seth are going to be a lock. They're going to re-sign. Becky said she wants to stay. I don't know what Seth had said yet, but I know Becky had said she wants to stay.
They've both stated that they want to retire there.
Yeah. I'm almost guaranteeing Sheamus is going to retire with the WWE as well at this point.
Yep.
So I really feel like those guys are going to be a lock. Drew is the only one that's questionable at this point.
Yes, but
yes,
again,
he's having a lot of fun.
Yeah.
But we'll see in 6 months' time, 7 months' time, or whenever his contract comes up, because I can't remember when his contract comes up.
Yeah, I believe it comes up just after Mania. But I want to see, and I want to put out another potential option there, and that would be a crossover. Could you see Drew McIntyre do a crossover appearance to TNA?
I'm actually glad you brought that up, because I did read that Jordynne Grace has expressed interest in defending the TNA Knockouts title on a WWE show.
Yes, she's also invited Bianca Belair and others to come to Impact and challenge her.
Yeah.
And come to their pay-per-views.
And this is actually the perfect segue to our next story, by the way. Thank you, OMD, for that.
You're welcome.
Because
it
we're
was done with intent.
we're done. We're talking about wrestlers being lent out and whatnot, but Shayna Baszler has is signed to do a match WrestleMania weekend. I believe it's the Friday night with GCW against Masha Slamovich. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing her name right.
Yes, Masha Slamovich, and it is actually with the under the GCW banner, but it is Josh Barnett's Bloodsport.
Yes.
Which for those that don't know, that's what NXT Underground and Raw Underground was. So it's the ring with no ropes.
Yeah, and that's why I'm happy that WWE is actually allowing the wrestlers to wrestle in for other promotions for just one night, but I do got some concerns around this.
Right.
I mean, we don't know what the situation is for the women's tag team division is for WrestleMania. And I'm wondering, like, what if Shayna gets scheduled to be a part of this, like, and she gets hurt on that Friday night? There's a lot of worries I've got with that.
I'm gonna say this: there is probably an out clause so that if they need Shayna for Mania, they can pull her out.
Mm-hmm.
There are other talents that are apparently supposed to be going as well.
Yeah, Shayna's the only announced one right now, and WWE is actually not happy that they announced it so fast because it wasn't supposed to be announced as fast as it was.
Oh, really?
Somebody from the Bloodsport GCW side of it leaked it on them.
Oh, okay.
So what do you think of that? Like,
I'm excited because I love both of these women.
Yeah.
Masha Slamovich is just an absolute monster.
Right.
In the ring. Talented beyond anything. So to see her and Shayna go back, and this is Shayna sort of going back to her roots because this is an MMA-based wrestling.
Okay.
Bloodsport.
Yeah.
So this is going to be fantastic for Shayna to draw exposure. And I'm sure that this is probably something that is what WWE tried when they did Raw Underground during the pandemic. And then, of course, they've had the few NXT Underground matches since.
Yeah.
So, yes, no ropes, none of that. It is wrestlers. There is no eliminations. I can't remember. I believe it's pinfall or submission only are the only ways to win.
Okay.
But yeah, no ropes. So you're not going to see a bunch of Irish whips and a ton of technical. You are going to see these women brawl.
Right. But like I said, like, I've got the big concern. I got a big concern with injuries. Oh, just hang on 1 second here. My phone started dinging on me. But yeah, I do have those concerns of what if she gets hurt and they've got something big planned for her. You know what I mean?
Well, that's why I'm thinking there is probably that out clause so that if they need her for Mania, then you're okay. I am just looking up to see if I can once again find the rules.
Yeah, and in the meantime, we've got Bulkster coming in and saying, hello, guys. How is it going, Bulkster? You messaged us earlier talking about potential. He's going to be doing a live stream of his predictions of WrestleMania, which OMD, I believe you're going to be a part of that.
Yes. Okay, so GCW Bloodsport is a professional wrestling event held by American promotion Game Changer Wrestling.
Yeah, so it's a GCW event.
Consists of a unique rule set compared to traditional pro wrestling in that every match must end in either a knockout or submission.
Mm-hmm.
The traditional ring is replaced by a ring canvas with no ropes or turnbuckles. The event features worked shoot matches in a style that mimics the early days of MMA and catch wrestling.
Okay, so it's going to be a lot like, I don't know if you've ever watched the promotion, but Pancrase, it's going to be a lot like that.
Right.
But Pancrase actually had a ring with ropes.
Yes.
Okay. So if it's worked, then perhaps Shayna will be fine.
Yeah.
But no, I'm excited. I'm still excited at the fact that we are seeing WWE sending their wrestlers out to other promotions to do things.
Yes, this is something that is still fairly new. We know that WWE and specifically Shawn Michaels and NXT have allowed talent to go to other promotions run by their own. Like I believe it was Roxanne Perez, I can't remember, who went back and worked with Reality of Wrestling.
Yeah, Booker T's promotion. Yeah.
So
and we've actually seen we've seen Vince McMahon show up in other promotions.
Yep.
We've seen I believe John Cena show up in other promotions. Hell, last night in the crowd, Matt Hardy was at Raw, and he's still under AEW.
Yes, but
Bailey was at AEW.
And you know what?
Not on TV though.
No, but neither was Matt.
Yeah.
But again, and I'm going to put this out there to the internet whining community who said that, Bailey, Naomi, Tamina should all have their wrestling licenses taken away, be suspended and fined and stripped of all of this. Let's do the same to Matt Hardy then, since he had his photo taken at the competition show.
Yeah, because there's actually photos of him like hugging fans and shaking hands with fans and everything like that.
Yes. And he and his wife were invited by a family friend, and then they were up in the skybox, and they were only there for an hour and a half.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so I mean, like, I don't know, maybe Matt was also there to say hi to some of his friends, because the majority of his friends work there as well.
Right. Yes. And it was said that he had no contact with any WWE officials.
Oh, okay. So he was just there as a fan. So who cares, right?
Yeah, exactly. It was in Raleigh, North Carolina.
His hometown.
Exactly.
That'd be like if CM Punk was still with the AEW, but he went to a WWE event and sat there. I wanted to say that was almost like when Enzo did that, but Enzo turned into a complete asshole and got himself kicked out of the arena.
Right.
Shane Douglas did the same thing.
Yep.
But no, again, I'm excited that this is, because we wondered this back at the Royal Rumble with Jordan Grace showing up for the TNA for TNA's behalf. We wondered if WWE was going to start lending their wrestlers out to other promotions. So
yes, and I'm excited for it.
Yeah, this is the interesting thing, is that it is going to be a televised event. So I'm a little bit interested in that take. Like, that's
right.
Got me surprised a little bit, because like the appearances we talked about with Vince McMahon showing up, I think it was at Dragon Gate, if I'm not mistaken, or something like that. Those weren't televised. Those were just here's this live show for you guys,
Right. And I mean, back then it was always looked at as, okay, well, maybe so and so was there in a scouting capacity.
Yeah.
Whereas now you have to be more open to these collaborations, because it's going to open you up to new talent who, okay, if they're going to let me go and do my thing. And we've seen this starting to come in a little bit more under Triple H, because he is on the pulse of everything.
Right.
And Nick Khan, we are so used to the brainwashed era of Vince McMahon, where if you're signed for me, you work for me. As opposed to now, okay, we'll give you some leeway. And so there's that little more openness. So we're going to give you some leeway. Just don't go and, win their title.
Yeah. That's the other thing I was thinking about too. Like, imagine this. Imagine Shayna comes back to the WWE. Hunter approaches her and asks her about possibly bringing Masha Slamovich into the WWE fold.
Well, that would be, again, leading to crossover as Masha is under contract to TNA.
Mm-hmm. Oh, so we've got two women who aren't even contracted under GCW facing each other. Okay, so it'd be just like when Taz took on Mike Awesome at an ECW event, WWE versus WCW in an ECW show.
Yes.
Okay, I see where they're going there.
And but again, this has to do with the fact that Endeavor probably runs TNA's streaming service.
Yeah.
WWE is, of course, under the Endeavor umbrella.
Mm-hmm.
So, Shayna Baszler did have UFC time, so maybe that's that aspect of crossover as well. So there's all these different factors that are playing into this.
Mm-hmm. You just made me think of something. One of my favorite matches that was introduced because it was a Matt Riddle match was the Fight Pit match. And now I was thinking of this a couple of days ago about Matt Riddle's release too. And I'm like, oh, great. We're not going to see another Fight Pit match. Then I'm like, just now it clicked in. Wait a minute. Yes, we could. Shayna Baszler could do one.
Right?
So
yes. And now you've got Masha Slamovich coming up. And there was a comment earlier from Brendan Dawson who said Motor City Machine Guns. And again, could be interesting because potentially, as I read just pre-show, their contracts are potentially up with TNA as early as the end of the month.
I've always wanted to see Alex Shelley in the WWE.
Yes, we got a brief taste of it in the Dusty Rhodes Tag Classic a couple of years ago when he came to redo the Time Splitters with Kushida.
Mm-hmm.
So I would love to see it. But again, I think that could be worked in as a crossover. Or could they potentially be a surprise team in a ladder match?
That's a possibility because we don't even know who's all involved in the tag team in this ladder match, other than who won last night and who's involved in the finals on the tournament for the qualifier at on SmackDown.
Right. Right. And again, I mean, there's speculation has come out because one Bully Ray has been removed from the TNA roster page, but has also teased something for WrestleMania weekend in Philadelphia.
Well, being that Paul Heyman is inducted that weekend, I get a feeling that they're going to be invited guests of Paul Heyman.
Absolutely.
Or perhaps be the ones who induct him.
Potentially. But I'm also wondering, and I know you won't see it, but I wonder if maybe they could present new tag team title straps.
That's something else that we've talked about too. We were on last night's show. We were wondering if there's going to be an introduction of new champions or new championship belts. Speaking of championship belts, there is a story that actually hit me just as I was putting everything together. But the MLB and the WWE have partnered together to create championship belts for all 30 MLB teams.
Really? I did see one that was Blue Jays, but
I was looking for the Blue Jays one. I can't find it.
But it looked to me like it was custom, like a fan-made design. I didn't see it as actually having been announced.
I've had a look at these belt designs, and I got to say, I like them better than the NFL ones.
Okay.
Because every single one of them for each team is its own individual design. And I like it. I like that they did that. They didn't just take one design, one custom design championship and then just slap a team's logo on it like they did with the NFL.
Right.
I had to look at the Houston Astros one, and I kind of like that one. I almost said Houston Oilers, but that's
Well, I mean,
former NFL.
Yes. I was going to say they used to exist in another league.
But no, I'm kind of excited about this because, like I said, I like that each team got their own individual designs. Whereas with the NFL, every team, same belt design, just had their team logo slapped on it.
Right. Yeah. Okay. I've got the article up here too. So. I want to bring in something here, and this is something that AJ brought up. AJ Styles, this came out, I believe I started to see this yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
And it's AJ Styles commenting on stuff, how things have changed under Triple H compared to Vince McMahon.
Right.
And he's voiced a hope for more wrestlers to recognize WWE's commitment to longevity and global presence. He got into the Netflix deal saying 10 years, possibly 20. We're not going anywhere, emphasizing WWE's enduring job security for performers who deliver and its international reach beyond the US and England.
Mm-hmm.
We're bigger now than we've ever been. Styles remarked, encouraging potential talents to view WWE as a global platform, which absolutely it has become.
Right.
He's also praised Triple H's approach to talent development, focusing on enhancing performers' strengths rather than their weaknesses. He contrasted this with the past, where releases often devastated wrestlers, suggesting an alternative of further development in NXT. His words, I really believe Triple H looks at our talent and goes, let's get them better, or let's find ways to bring out the best of them, best in them, rather than show them the worst. So it's showing more support for talent, whether they're established or up and coming, as opposed to just, what have you done for me lately? Goodbye.
I kind of like that. And the perfect example of that was last night with Ricochet. Yep. I mean, yeah, he's been rarely used on TV, but we all know he's weak in the promo department, but strong with the in-ring. And just by having him doing the in-ring stuff without having to do a promo, I'm fine by that. I'm very fine by that.
Right.
But yeah, the changes between from Vince to Triple H are definitely night and day. I mean, Vince was the type of guy who's like, okay, I got a new toy. Let's see what I can do with this toy. Okay, this toy doesn't do too much for me 3 months down the road. Toss you off to the side. Hunter's not like that.
No.
Hunter finds a way to incorporate all his toys into one game.
Yes, absolutely. And I mean, another prime example, we're seeing it now with NXT, and that is Luke Gallows and Carl Anderson.
Yeah, moving them to NXT, I think, was the smartest idea.
Yep. I mean, I know they had it in their contracts that don't call us to TV if you're not going to use us.
Mm-hmm.
Now you're getting them in-ring time as opposed to just these backstage segments.
As right now, I got NXT on the screen, we're talking tag team wrestling. We're talking about a possible feud for the Good Brothers, that being Braun Breaker and Baron Corbin. Right now, I got on my screen.
Very nice. Well, I do know that I believe at Stand and Deliver they are going to challenge.
Mm-hmm. But what do you say? Since we're talking about young wrestlers going in NXT, let's talk about a new. We're talking about NXT. We got to talk Dusty Rhodes. Let's talk about his grandsons coming into the business. Third generation Rhodes. Yes, the Rhodes legacy is going to continue. As I didn't catch the names of the Rhodes kids that are going in, but they're going by the tag team name of Wyatt and Wayne Rhodes. I'm seeing here now. Being called in, going into wrestling as the Texas Outlaws. How excited are you to see the Rhodes legacy continue?
This is fantastic. We hear it at the start of Cody's music every Monday. Wrestling has more than one royal family. This is now the first time in years that we've heard of new Rhodes coming up. We thought it was sort of going to end with Cody. And you look at it was Dusty, Gold Dust, and Cody.
Mm-hmm.
So now you're getting this next generation. Because how often do we think of Terry Runnels anymore as part of the industry?
Almost never, to be fair.
Right? Even though she wasn't a member of the Rhodes, how often do we think about Sapphire?
Well, I mean, just recently I completed 40 years of WrestleMania, so she still holds that special place in my heart at WrestleMania 6, the mixed tag match, her Dusty against Savage and Sherry, you know?
Right. So this is actually great to see that this is being continued on for the Rhodes Wrestling Alliance company or promotion.
Right.
Do I think they need to be put into a tag team title match in their debut? No.
Oh, no. This because they're going to be having their first match. It's not even announced like which promotion yet.
RWA.
Oh, you're right. RWA. You're right. Yep. So your first match, you don't want to put them in a tag match. I mean, come on.
Right. They will make their debut at RWA's event on March 24th. So Sunday.
This weekend.
The two will also compete for the RWA Tag Team Championship in the process to carry on the Rhodes legacy.
Oh, so they are getting a title match.
Yes.
Okay. I mean, I kind of want to see. I do want to see how they do.
Yeah.
When Cody was announced for making his debut, I was interested to see how he would do. And what did they do? They put him in a tag team match with Hardcore Holly, and they won the tag team titles.
Yes.
And by the way, just gonna say this quick, but putting Cody, who was green as hell at the time, with Hardcore, smart move.
Right. In this situation, and this is coming out from the RWA, the Rhodes legacy is strong and growing. Introducing my nephews Wyatt and Wayne Rhodes, the Texas Outlaws, who will make their debut at RWA's showcase this Sunday, March 24th at 7/6 Central on RWA's YouTube channel. In the main event, 2 out of 3 falls, 30-minute time limit for the new RWA Tag Team Championship.
Okay, so if you guys have YouTube, search up RWA, leave a subscribe and leave a like to them. Then you can watch the show. I'm gonna find my way there, guaranteed.
Yep.
But you know what? Since we're talking independent promotions, we've got an independent show coming this Friday night, man.
Yes.
And it is our Showstopper segment of the show here. We're going to be talking CWE Point to Prove, coming to our city, Sault Ste. Marie, Ontario. Why don't you say we break down these matches that are going to be coming up here?
Let's do it. Unfortunately, I will not be at the show, even though
as
part of Turnbuckle Studios, we are sponsoring it.
Yep.
I have familial obligations that night.
Yep. Familial, that's a big word, man. But no, I know you will have a way to watch this show, because I was talking with Carl earlier this afternoon. We're going to find a way to get the show onto YouTube. So
right.
Let's break this down. Let's get it all started. I'm looking at the first match here. Rusty Blackwell, the Butcher. He's going one-on-one with Sean Martins, the headliner.
Interesting.
What do you make of this match? Because we've both watched Sean Martins. We both watched Rusty Blackwell. They both wrestled at the last show. They both did fantastic in their matches.
I'm a huge Sean Martins fan.
Yeah.
That was not the first time I've seen Sean Martins. I didn't really get a good look at Rusty Blackwell for that 6-man tag, and that was just based on my positioning where I had my seat.
Yeah.
I got to look at his ass for most of that match, unfortunately.
So for those of you who don't know, Rusty Blackwell is he's got to be at least a 350-pound dude.
Yeah.
He's a huge motherfucker. I'm just going to say it. Last time we saw Sean Martins, he also wrestled another big MFer, that being Samson.
Yes.
Do we see Sean Martins pull off the same stunt he did with Samson at the last show and get that disqualification to try and get out of this? Because Blackwell's going to toss him around the ring. You know that.
He is. That's where Sean Martins makes his living, though, is working these big guys. The first time I saw Sean Martins wrestle was Marcellus Prime.
Yeah.
So, he's always been in with these big guys.
Right.
But I think for him to go back and do that same spot again, no, I don't think so. I think that this one might be a different form of disqualification, or
he takes the count. He takes the count out and walks off.
Yeah.
Because for those who don't know, Sean Martins is the
heel.
He's always the heel. He's the Rick Rude asshole type character.
Yes.
I love Sean Martins, by the way.
Yes.
love watching him work.
Fantastic competitor. And he puts his heart and soul into CWE.
Yeah.
We know that, I can't remember if you were there or not. There was a show middle of last year that got delayed because their truck broke down.
I was not there, but I was going to go to that show.
So the show didn't actually start until almost 11:30 at night.
Right.
And you could see when Sean Martins showed up, he had grease on his t-shirt because he was under the truck working on it to try and get the show, get them here.
Yeah. I'm excited for this match, though, because I got to meet Rusty personally. I really liked hanging around him and talking with him. I thought he was really cool.
Right.
I love Sean Martins as well. His in-ring work is just impeccable.
It is.
But let's move on. Let's talk about this next match here. This one is a little bit questionable for me because I don't know one of the competitors in this match. And that is we got Mr. Atlantis and Matt Powers taking on the Double Ds.
Okay.
I know what Matt Powers can do. I've watched the guy since training.
Right.
I know what the Double Ds can do.
Yes. See, I don't know a lot about Matt Powers. Again, I didn't get much of a chance to watch him during that 6-man tag the last time.
Yeah.
But I've seen
I'll just say right now, because when I saw Matt Powers' first match, extremely green as hell.
Right.
Like he was he was greener than the Green Ranger. Power Ranger, right. Matt Powers. I'm saying that to you right now.
I've seen Mr. Atlantis once.
Mm-hmm. How was he in the ring?
Not bad. I mean, he's been around, like he was a lot older than I expected.
Mm. Okay.
Bigger, very bizarre character because he comes off like he was coming out in the face roll that time, and I thought just from his look, from his pre-match photo and all of that he was going to be one of the heels.
Right.
So it was sort of that twist, give that one look, but then you're this off the wall. Perhaps the best way I can describe him is his character really reminded me of a Willy Wonka.
Oh, so I'm going to like this character because I love the Wonka character.
Yeah.
Oh, that makes me happy to see it. We know what the Double D's can do. We know that they're cocky little shits.
We know that they're also entertaining as hell and hilarious.
Yeah, so this is going to be a fun little match for Matt Powers. I'm looking forward to it. Matt Powers, like I said, he's really green. I'm sorry, I saw Bo Dallas on my screen and I got curious again, but they're promoting the Bray Wyatt documentary.
Right.
But Matt Powers, like I said, he came from like an extremely green background. His first match, I believe, was with Johnny Valentino. Johnny Valentino took care of him in the ring.
Right.
Because Valentino knows Matt Powers as well as I do. So,
right.
But he's come a long way. He's come a long way in those 10 years.
Right.
Yeah. But no, I'm looking forward to this tag team match. I think it's going to be a fun little tag match. I really do. But let's move on here from Matt Powers to. Oh, this is one match I'm very excited about. I'm very excited to see this guy again. But we've got Josh Cheeks Holiday, a man who I got to announce a match for. Again, we're moving from Matt Powers to Josh Holiday, who, by the way, had a tag team match at the CWE show with the Mountie. He's taking on Hotshot Danny Duggan.
Okay.
Josh Holiday is a wrestler from the North Bay area, I think, or the Thunder Bay area. It's one of the bays here in Ontario.
Okay.
I did see what Danny Duggan can do with him. What do you make of this match as well?
Again, it's a competitor I don't know versus Danny Duggan. Danny Duggan.
Yeah.
As long as I have been going to CWE shows, he has been at every single one that has been here.
Yeah, even if he wasn't scheduled to be on the show, he was there.
Yes.
He runs the place.
Fantastic guy. Mm-hmm. Fantastic individual, fantastic worker.
Fantastic heel, man. Does he ever get the heat, you know?
Right.
I really think this is going to be an entertaining match. Based off what I've seen from Josh Holiday, because the last match I watched him do was, again, tag teaming with Matt Powers. He took on OJ Thundercloud and Kevy Chevy. And it was they were doing, when it came to him and Holiday and Kevy Chevy in the match, they were doing the big man versus little man dynamic.
Right.
Danny Duggan's kind of a big dude.
Yes.
Josh Holiday isn't.
Okay.
So I think we could see that in this match as well.
Right.
I think, but I think if you want to keep that heat, I think Danny Duggan takes the win in this match.
Right. Right. I wonder if they're going to get another kid to stand up and sing "Oh Canada" this year or this show.
That would be awesome. That was just great when they did that last time. That was Dan Jarrus, I think, who did that, right?
I believe so.
Yeah. All right. So, we are now going to move on, and we're going to talk about the sleeper match of the night, the match I am totally looking forward to. And that is Jimmy Jacobs versus Vinny Da Vinci. Oh God, am I looking forward to this match.
That has match of the night written all over it.
Yes.
That match should probably be the main event.
It won't be, though.
I know. I know.
Oh, I'm so excited about this match. We know what everybody knows what Jimmy Jacobs can do. If you're a hardcore wrestling fan, you know what Jimmy Jacobs can do. We, local boys, Ontario boys, we know what Vinny can do. This is going to be a barn burner of a match.
It absolutely is. I mean, this is going to be incredible. I mean, Vinny's work ethic, his drive, and everything he puts into the ring versus Jimmy Jacobs' mind for the business.
Yes. Jimmy also has a deep-rooted passion with CWE. So anytime that CWE calls on him, he's employed by AEW right now working as a producer. So it's actually kind of cool that we're getting somebody from AEW taking part in the show.
Right.
So anytime Danny needs an extra body on the show, One phone call's all he needs, and he's got Jimmy Jacobs, or he's got Psychosis. But right now, Psychosis is off with a hip injury.
Yep.
We hope he gets better. But this match is just gonna steal the show.
Absolutely.
Oh my god! You got me marking out right now, thinking about it. I'm doing the commentary at the show, so can you imagine what that's going to be like? I'm
Right.
sorry, Carl, if I get too excited. I'm gonna apologize in advance right now.
Yep.
Oh geez, but it's gonna be hard to move on from this one.
Actually, the last time Jimmy Jacobs was here with Vincent and TK O'Ryan, I believe, as well as Juventud. I was working at Tim Hortons.
Yeah. Oh, so this was a little while ago.
Yep. And I couldn't make that show because, again, of familial obligations. And I'm out and I'm on the counter, and these 4 guys come in, and I'm like, oh, great. Who are these, like, waste cases? So the first guy comes up, and I'm looking, and he's got the earrings in and the painted nails, and I'm just like, Jesus Christ, that's Jimmy Jacobs. Then I realized that's TK O'Ryan. That's Vinny Marcellia. Dude, I need some autographs. I mean, he was cool too. He's like, did you make the show last night? No, I had a family dinner and stuff like that. So,
yeah. Let's move on. We got another exciting match actually on this card that I didn't read too deep into this card, but we were talking about Dan Jarrus earlier. He's going up against he's going for the CWE Heavyweight Championship against the Zombie Killer, Mentolo. This is going to be another barn burner of a match because we saw what Mentolo did with AJ Sanchez, and wow, what a match that was.
And I stand by this. AJ got robbed.
But did he really? I mean, he did eat a big boot from Bubba.
He did. He did. No, that was the 3rd time I've seen Mentolo, and I mean Mentolo delivers every time.
Yeah.
That was the first time I had the experience of, I can't remember his name now.
Dan Jarrus?
Yes, that was my first time seeing Dan Jarrus the last time.
Yeah.
So I don't know how new he is to CWE.
He's been around the block a bit. I've read into his history.
Okay.
I'm excited for this because of we saw what he did with Danny Duggan at the last show. Of course, Dan Jarrus did not come out on top.
Right.
Danny Duggan took the win there. I'm very excited about this. I hope. Do we see a title change? Probably not, because Mentolo is just on a whole other level.
Right.
Just put it at that. But yeah, this is going to be a hell of a match as well. I'm totally looking forward to this one. I think it's going to be a fun match to watch. I don't know where you place it on the card. I don't think you want to place it after Vinny and Jimmy, because that match is just going to be so much fun to watch. This whole card just looks friggin' stacked, right, by the way.
Right. It's one of those situations where, yes, I'm disappointed that I can't make it, but more important things are happening, so I got to take care of that first.
Right. But let's move on here. Oh, let's move on to the special attraction match and the reason why we're doing this show. We've got WWE legend Savio Vega taking on Diego Da Vinci with Sergeant Commando in his corner. This is going to be a fun match to watch because we know Savio can still go.
He can. I don't know how much he has actually been in the ring since.
Oh, he still works. He still works the Cuba scene like nothing.
Okay, I did not know that he was still, actively competing on a regular basis. Yeah, I knew he'd make special appearances in that, especially in his own promotion.
I mean, last year we saw him at Backlash.
Yes. So I mean, he looks to be in phenomenal shape. What I'm going to do is take Diego Da Vinci's hot-blooded Italian temper versus that fiery Cuban temper of the Boricua himself, Savio Vega.
Yeah.
This is going to be very combustible.
Yeah. And let's not forget, Diego's got an X factor in his corner. Sergeant Commando is going to be in his corner. So we're going to see Sergeant Commando is one of those really wily managers.
He is.
And I think Savio is going to have to bring some backup with him.
I think Savio is going to have some backup in, I don't know who, but I think there's going to be somebody there who's had enough of Sergeant Commando.
Yeah. We'll have to wait and see on that one. And in our main event, the participants have not been announced yet, but we are getting, and this is something that I wanted to cross off my bucket list for matches to call. We're getting an 8-man Survivor Series tag team match.
Interesting.
I've got my thoughts though on who could captain each team, and I really do think maybe we get Savio and Jimmy doing 2 matches. Jimmy Jacobs, I'm talking about, and they captain each team, or maybe they're managers and they captain each team, and we see their pick of the 4 wrestlers and Savio's pick of 4 wrestlers.
I'm also wondering if maybe you see a couple of hometown boys in Vinny Da Vinci as well as Matt Powers put into that match.
Even though they will have matches earlier. Well, I shouldn't say that because Vinny did wrestle 2 matches at the first show I got to call, which was the Mountie show.
Right.
Him winning the match against Diego Da Vinci in a hair versus career match and winning the Rumble to Remember later that night.
Right. I got to see, I believe it was the Eric Rowan show that Vinny was supposed to be in the first match, but then was taken out and then came back and did the main event with teaming with Chris Masters against Sergeant Commando and Diego. Yeah.
All in all, though, I'm very excited about this. I'm very interested about that Survivor Series match. I'm very intrigued to see what goes on here.
Yes.
But this is just looking at this card, and I'm like, wow, this is stacked. Very excited to see it. How about you, OMD? I know you're not going to be there live, but you will be able to catch it once Carl and I manage to get it uploaded to YouTube.
I am excited to see it. I'm excited to sit down and watch it and critique your performances on commentary. No, I'm excited to have the opportunity to see it. I mean, we go way back with guys like Vinny Da Vinci, Diego Da Vinci.
Oh, yeah.
Ourselves. I know you know Matt Powers far more than I do.
Mm-hmm.
But it's just wrestling.
Yeah.
It's wrestling. It's the first love of our lives.
Yeah. And it's just, I get giddy anytime we get wrestling in our city.
Right.
Let's face it, for a while, wrestling had dried up in our city for the longest time.
Yeah.
And I'm thankful, and I'm going to put this out there, and I'm going to say a thank you to Danny Duggan for bringing CWE to our city and continuing to do so, because this has just been, it's a blast every time you go. If you're ever up in our area, or if you're ever in Canada, do yourselves a favor and check out a CWE show.
Yes.
And on that note, guys, what do you say, OMD? We hand out those socials so people can find us, you know?
Well, I want to go hide like a hermit.
Well, you can't, because you got to hand out your socials. So go ahead and do that.
All right. Well, people, if you want to find me, you can find me on the Book of Faces under my real name, Daniel Hrycyk, Hrycyk. On Snapchat, One Man Dynamic, capitals on OM and D. On Twitch at OMD17 and on Discord at OMD6370. If you wish to catch me visually and see this glorious moneymaker, you can catch me right here every Monday with the Raw Patrol. Every Tuesday here on Turnbuckle Talk with Chris Best and our host Carl Carafel, who is on assignment tonight. And on Thursdays on the Boar's Nest with Bubba Duke. As well, you can catch us there at YouTube at Bubba OMD.
Yeah, let me flash that up there real quick. There we go.
And also you can catch Boar's Nest with Bubba Duke on Twitch. Occasionally you can find me on the Window Lickers podcast on Mondays doing the review preview show for Raw. And that's hosted by our good friend and affiliate, the voice Joshua Joseph.
Mm. Yeah. So let's before we get to my socials, as soon as I can find them here, if you want to do some shopping for some of our material, go to carolcareful.redbubble.com. You will find anything related to Turnbuckle Studios there, whether it's a shirt, whether it's a mug, whether it's the Raw Patrol, OMD's locker room visit. You can buy that stuff right there at carolcareful.redbubble.com. Why don't we plug Collar and Elbow as well? If you use the promo code JK Podcast, you get yourself 10% off again with Collar and Elbow products there. JK Podcast, get you 10% off anything you purchase through that store here. And you know what? Why not? OMD, you said you're feeling a little bit sluggish. Maybe you should get online and order yourself some Rogue Energy, my friend. Use the promo code PARISH, gets you 10% off. And trust me, there are some fantastic flavors on that website. Let's and since he's not here, I'm going to do it for him here. If you want to look up Carl Carafel, look up his link tree. I can speak English properly, I promise you. linktr.ee/Carl Carafel. That's where you'll find all of his socials. And as for myself, you want to find me. Oh, that's Chris Parrish's socials. Never mind. Okay, you can find me at youtube.com at CBRS Entertainment, twitch.tv CBRS_entertainment, threads.net CBestFilms83, facebook.com Chris.best83, tiktok.com CBRS.entertainment. You can look for me Monday nights alongside OMD, alongside Carl Carafel, Chris Parrish, and Bubba Duke as we do the Raw Patrol. This coming Monday night, we're going to be seeing CM Punk make his return. JD McDonough is going to have a matchup against Ricochet. Those are the only matches announced for Raw so far this coming week. Saturday nights, you can look for me as I do my Saturday night gaming. This weekend, I'm going to be getting started off with Uncharted 3. You can also follow me on my CBRS Entertainment channel as I'm going to be getting started with the WWE 2K24 My Rise career modes. And on that note, ladies and gentlemen, as Carl Carafel would say, the world's a scary place. Take care of yourself. There it is.